Hi guys, Nathan Mill down under here. Hope everybody out is well out there. Now I'm going to do something slightly different today. I'm actually going to do my first ranking video. So I'm not sure how it's going to go. Hopefully it all goes well. No hate please. This is just my selection of how I put them in ranking. And I'm going to do Metallica. One of the only bands I have the full discography of. And yeah, so I thought I'd jump on this. If my voice goes in and out, it's because I've actually just been doing karaoke with my wife and daughter, and I just did Enter Sandman, which made me decide to do this video. What's playing in the background? A bit of, quite hard to see, $1 Million Reload. Came out on Frontiers, 2012. Really gritty hard rock, especially if you like Buck Cherry. If you like Buck Cherry, you'll really enjoy $1 Million Reload. There's the cover there. There's the guys in the back. Really good stuff if you're into your gritty hard rock, modern style. Really good stuff. And just one thing, I will not be including the Garage Days in my ranking. This would feature high though if I did. Now I have a love-hate with Metallica, and you'll be able to tell as the video goes along why that is. So I'll get started. You can sort of probably imagine what the first one will be. My least favourite Metallica is Saint Anger. Absolute garbage. The only reason I have this is just to complete the discography. The music is shocking. The vocals are shocking. It's just horrible. There's no guitar solos or anything in it. I remember the first time I heard the song Saint Anger, I thought, oh my god, that's terrible and frantic. I can't stand that song. Just nothing good about this album at all. The drumming from Lars is just so tinny and sounds terrible. I'm sure I could do a better job on Pots and Pans. In fact, I know I could. But yeah, just a terrible album. I actually feel sorry for Rob coming in and being a part of this record. I know James wasn't that well and issues within the band, but they could have done a much better job than this. This one came out in, I think it's 2004. But garbage, absolute rubbish. Next, least favourite, Load from Metallica. This one came out in 1996. 5-year gap between this and the Black album, and I was so looking forward to a new Metallica album. This album came out and I thought, just so disappointed. I was actually gutted. Another thing too, they'd all cut their hair off, didn't have the metal look anymore. Old Kirk was going emo with the tats and all the piercings and so forth, and the music isn't that great either. A lot of more country sounding in places, and it's just rock, really, a bit of hard rock. I'll admit there's a few songs on here. King Nothing's not bad. Hero of the Dark didn't like. Mama Said's not too bad, but generally a very, very poor album in my opinion. And they were my favourite band up until this point, and then they lost me on Load. It doesn't get played. Next one is the follow-up to that, Reload. And a lot of people prefer Load to Reload, but I actually prefer this album. For me, the songs just catch me a bit more. The Memory Remains is a song I never ever like, but Devil's Dance, I like that. Fuel's another one I'm not a big fan of, but Carpe Diem, Slither, Layman's Lyric. There's some good tracks on here. This one came out in 97, so a year after that one, but still very piss poor effort really in my opinion, and yeah, very, very disappointed in this as well, but in my opinion I did prefer it over Load. Next is the album that came out after Load, and that was Death Magnetic. Definitely a better return to form from these guys. Came out in 2008 on Vertigo. Some good songs on here. but nothing memorable. I don't really remember much from it at all. It was the first song they put out. The Day That Never Comes is okay, but it's quite a boring album in my opinion. But I do love the song The Judas Kiss. That is a fantastic song, and that could have been on the Black Album in my opinion. And My Apocalypse is quite good too. But yeah, Judas Kiss and My Apocalypse are fantastic songs. Suicide and Redemption is pretty good as well. Not a fan of Cyanide. All Night Me Long's okay. But yeah, definitely a return to form, but still not the greatest album in the world. So that one. Then the next one, their most recent effort, we have Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Good album. It is quite a good album. Atlas Rise, fantastic song. Moth to the Flame, another brilliant song. But as a lot of people say, my favourite track on here would be Spit Out the Bone. Really good thrashy song, and if the whole album had been like that, this album would have been featured higher on my list. First half of the album is definitely better than the second half, apart from Spit Out the Bone, which is the last song. They could have cut half the songs off this album and it would have been a lot better. But yeah, return to form, and just hope if these boys do ever put anything out again, we get some great tunes like Spit Out the Bone, because that's not a bad song. 2016 this came out, so they're definitely due for another one. It's been 5 years. But I pull this out from time to time, not that often. But yeah, an enjoyable listen. I can actually get right through the whole. I can get through the whole album. So yeah, good stuff. Now we get to the nitty gritty. Now, no hate, please. This is just my order of the top albums. So then, next of all, in my opinion, Kill 'Em All, great album, but quite raw sounding to me. But you had classic songs on here like The Four Horsemen, Whiplash, No Remorse. Seek and Destroy would be my favourite track of this album, but to me it just isn't as good as the other albums in my personal opinion. Always loved that cover, but I do actually prefer the original cover they wanted to go with. This one came out in 1983, but yeah, really good album. Back when old Cliff Burton was in the band before his accident. But yeah, really good album. But as I say, I prefer some of the others a little bit more. There's actually not much between them, but yeah. So that was Kill 'Em All. Next, we have the Black Album. This is my full-on introduction to Metallica back in 1991. I'd heard the song One previous to this, but this is the first album I ever heard in full. Absolutely loved it. I know that it's lost a bit of its edge and it was a lot more radio friendly, but yeah, I love it. Favourite song in here would have to be The Struggle Within. That's a great song. The other song I love is Don't Tread On Me. In actual fact, that is my favourite song. Probably the heaviest song on the album, Don't Tread On Me. I'm a little bit over Enter Sandman and Sad But True and Nothing Else Matters and The Unforgiven. But the deeper tracks, The God That Failed, My Friend in Misery, Of Wolf and Man, all absolutely killer songs in my opinion. And when it came to this album, one of the main reasons why I love it so much, back when I was in 5th form, I'm not sure what year grade that is over in the States, but we had to do a project during the year on anything we wanted to, and I did mine on Metallica. I got full grades in it, and then for the exam at the end of the year, there was a big question on the topic that we did it on, and of course I did it on Metallica, and I'm sure that is the only reason why I passed school certificate English, was because of Metallica, and that's why I love them so much. Yeah, really good album. Terrible album cover though. Now we get to the really nitty gritty end of it. So, in third spot, we have Ride the Lightning. Awesome album. I remember the first time I heard Fade to Black, I was amazed by that song. I saw it I think the first time I saw it was on the Clifton Mall. I heard it was on the Clifton Mall video cassette at the time, and I thought that live version was awesome. Did such an awesome job. Of course, you have For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is an absolute staple in their concerts. Creeping Death, of course, another one. Fight Fire with Fire, a really brutal track by the band. This one came out in '84. Obviously, Black Album came out in '91. But a superb album, still with the man Cliff on a bass guitar, and I've always loved that album artwork. So yeah, that's number 3. Number 2, love this album to pieces, but it's just nipped out by number 1. We have Master of Puppets. Now the first time I ever heard this album and Ride the Lightning was at a mate's house. His brother was a big metalhead, and when he'd go to work, we'd sneak into his room and we'd pull out his record collection, and this and Ride the Lightning he had in his collection, and listened to it. I thought, oh, that's awesome. Wasn't really into thrash at that time. When I heard this, I thought this is the heaviest thing I'd ever heard up until that point. This opening track, Battery, just rips your head off. Master of Puppets, Welcome Home. My favourite song definitely has to be Damage Inc., the last song on the album. Yeah, that's such a hard hitter, punch you in the face song. But you also have Leper Messiah, Disposable Heroes. It's not a bad track on this album, and always loved that artwork. And it wasn't until a few years ago I actually noticed there was a helmet on the cross. I just never noticed it. But yeah, great album cover. 86 this one came out, and yeah, so stoked that I actually heard this. It was on record or cassette, I can't remember, but during these listening times in his mate's brother's bedroom, also discovered bands like Wasp, Dokken, who else was there? I heard a Twisted Sister before that, also Anvil from Canada, Warlock. Lots of great bands I heard from listening to his record collection. But yep, Master Puppets come in at number 2. And of course that means my number 1 album has to be The Mighty and Justice for All. Came out in 1988. First song I ever heard from these guys was the song One. Saw the video clip, and yeah, it blew me away. The whole video clip, the whole song, especially at the end where it gets really, really heavy. Favourite song in here would have to be The Frayed Ends of Sanity. Absolutely love that track. Such a fantastic album, even though there's no bass. And I read recently that when Jason Newsted first heard it, he was very, very pissed that there was no bass. But still, a fantastic album. Love it to pieces. Always loved the artwork, and I love it that they had the statue in their concerts. I would love to go on back to a concert in 1989 for the Injustice album, but they never came to New Zealand back then. First time they came to New Zealand, I think, was in '93 with the Black album. But yeah, the song One, great. And Justice for All, Shortest Straw, Harvest of Sorrow, all brilliant songs on this album, and that is why I love it so much. Jason's first album with the band, rightly so, he was pissed, but yeah, still a great album. So yeah, that's my ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if I annoyed anybody by my picks, but that's just me and the way I picked it. And yeah, love the earlier stuff, later stuff I can leave it. I've only got their stuff to fill in the discography. I'm thinking about doing another one, maybe Ozzy Osbourne. He's my favourite vocalist of all time. Black Sabbath and Ozzy solo stuff. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Bye for now.